Theo Von just had Donald Trump on his podcast this past weekend, just days after interviewing Bernie Sanders on the same platform.
You like Bernie? Are you friends with him or something?
No, I'd met him the other day.
Was that the first time?
It was the first time.
Were you impressed by him?
Yeah.
One thing, he's still sharp, right?
Oh, yeah, he's still sharp.
He doesn't suffer from what Biden did.
No.
Mental dullness.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean...
Mentally gone.
Biden is
mentally gone.
Somebody put a merry-go-round in his head, I heard, but they didn't plug it in. They didn't tell him.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Do you see why people like him?
I do. He's very disarming. He gets up there and he says whatever the hell he wants.
Doesn't seem like he's by the book. That was a thing.
He is not by the book.
Right. And so that's something, the same as you. It's like, it feels like they're speaking for themselves. Whether you agree with maybe what they believe what they're saying. And that, I think, comes through.
I think you're right.
Clearly to people.
I think, he's certainly unusual. He gets up there and he rants and he does his thing, and he's not necessarily, I'm sure his advisors go crazy, but he's not, he doesn't have 14.
Kid Rock is one of his advisors,
Kid Rock is, he's terrific. He came to the convention and he knocked everybody out. He's a great guy. He's just a great guy. He's popular, very popular.
Oh, he's a real dirt serpent too, dude. He's a freaking legend, He's a legend.
He is a legend, I guess, in a true sense.
Donald Trump's episode of this past weekend was little under an hour long, and of course, a good chunk of time was spent discussing the UFC, which both Theo Von and Donald Trump are known to be huge fans of, and even share a few memories from attending the same fights.
Sometimes we do walk-ons with Dana, and place sort of likes it.
Oh yeah, I've been there. There's a video of us. I was behind you in one video. UFC became my favorite sport during the pandemic because Dana was brave enough to stay open. He was the whole ball game. He was the only sport, and he'd open up in arenas with nothing other than very good fighters. Yeah.
And they would be fighting. He had some of the best fights during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But it
was exceptional. There it is right there. See, look. There you are, and I'm right behind you there.
Oh,
clapping with that hat on, the white guy in the hat.
That's great. That's right. The white guy in the hat is right. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of us there, but I was one of them for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, see, that's me right there.
Good sport, isn't it, huh?
Yeah. I'm a Dustin Poirier fan, so.
Oh, he's great. He was, boy, I tell you, he's a warrior. That last fight he had, whether you like it or not, he is a warrior.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt like he didn't get the victory, but it didn't feel like he lost.
No, he didn't lose that fight.
Donald Trump has done a few other podcasts before, like Full Send and Kill Tony, but this is really the first time a comedian has ever interviewed the former president like this. For a long time, people have been waiting on the Joe Rogan Donald Trump podcast, but in the past, Rogan has indicated that he does not think he'd get a real version of Donald Trump on JRE, but rather someone who is just using his massive platform for their own gain. However, this conversation with Theo Von might change some things. Although the episode was on the shorter side, the discussion between Theo and Trump only really got political when Theo asked specific questions regarding certain issues. Other than that, the podcast was well balanced with regular stories mixed in. And just try to tell me you can't envision this story on JRE.
Do you remember like the first fight that you ever went to, whether it was UFC or boxing or anything?
Yeah, I do. It was Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali in Madison Square Garden many, many years ago. And I think that was the first fight I went to. I always liked the boxing.
How old were you, remember?
Oh boy, I don't know. You can deduct it from what I am now, but it was a long time ago. But they were two undefeated fighters. They were both undefeated. Muhammad became a friend of mine. So did Joe, Jolton Joe. They were two great fighters. That fight was incredible. I think they had like many heart attacks that night, literally heart attacks in Madison Square Garden. I think it was Madison Square Garden. The fight was so unbelievable. Two undefeated heavyweight champions of the world. There was no UFC and there was no competition really. It was it. I remember that Muhammad wasn't allowed to fight because of lots of different things, and he was a terrific guy. Both terrific guys, very different.
And they finally made it happen. They finally made that bout happen.
So you had two undefeated heavyweight champions fighting.
And who took you to the fight, you remember?
I went with my father and my brother Robert. I must have been very young. It was a long time ago, but you would never forget it. That was one of those moments.
Oh, yeah.
But no, literally, there were like many heart attacks in the arena.
Is people having too much fun, or what do you think? It was drugs?
Having heart attacks because it was such a crazy event.
Oh, yeah.
It was so, the people were just, I know a friend of mine, the father, he had a bad heart attack. Literally, they took him out. They were taking people out,
It's an early KO.
Donald Trump also said some positive things about RFK Jr. during this podcast with Theo Von, which Joe Rogan would obviously want to address if they ever did a podcast together. If you don't know, Donald Trump recently put out a message on his Truth Social platform about Joe Rogan based on remarks that Rogan had made about RFK Jr., and we made a video about it that will be on the end screen right after this.
There was a rumor that you almost had RFK Jr. as a potential vice president.
No.
Just a rumor.
Yeah,
and
no.
did
I like him. I've always liked him. But
I like him too. Bobby and I are friends. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for years.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
He's in there pitching. It's tough. It's a two-party system, and he's a third party. You know, it's a tough thing. He can't get registered now in New York. I see New York, and the Democrats have really opposed him vehemently. I haven't, but the Democrats have really opposed him.
So you think he should be allowed to run everywhere?
Well, the laws don't allow that.
Okay.
It seems like if Joe Rogan was ever going to change his mind about having Trump on the podcast, it would either be sometime soon or years from now when Donald Trump is not a political candidate and can openly spill some government beans. But also, there's been such a big stink made by other people wanting this podcast to happen so badly that stubborn Joe Rogan might just never do this interview now out of principle.
Let's go to 2043. We're doing a podcast, you're 75. At 75, we look back and we look at the list of podcasters. Who are the greatest podcasters of all time? Joe Rogan at the top, GOAT. Who's the greatest this, that? And he's like, dude, but he never interviewed that guy Trump. I'm going to be like, what are you talking about? Wait, let me get this straight. The greatest podcaster of all time never interviewed Trump at a time that he didn't do that? Dude, that's crazy. I don't believe it. Why not? It had to be personal. It had to be this. So to me, I think the guy that's going to interview him in a way that nobody else is going to interview him, you're going to ask some questions that you want to know about. Like, hey, what happened with JFK? Are we really going to find out? Can you commit to us? Are you going to come out with the files or no? So I really want to know. Last time you said you did, but you only gave us 80%. Are we going to get the other 20%? Aliens. What the hell is going on with these aliens? Are we going to know or no? Can you give us a glimpse? Do you think we should know?
I don't think he'd tell you anything about that.
But what I'm saying...
I think that would be a waste of time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is whatever angles you choose to take,
right?
Okay, it's your show. You get to take whatever angles you want to take. I think it'd be very weird to look back. There's going to be no mainstream media 20 years from now. You know that, I know that. To look back and say Joe never interviewed Trump, that's kind of weird. So that's my pitch to you.
Good, I like weird.
You like weird?
I like things that are weird.
I don't know about that. I think one...
Why don't you interview him?
But anyway, if you're not already, please consider subscribing to Clip World right now. This is the official second channel of Joke World, which is a one-stop shop for everything comedy related, including news, highlights, daily shorts, and other cool stuff that you'll only find out about if you press subscribe and stop lollygagging around like a damn fool.
I love Joke World. He's the fucking man, dude. If y'all ain't fucking with Joke World, who are you fucking with? Joke World, can you please clip him saying that Leon is actually ugly, please?
No,
Joke World.
She's very hilarious. She's clearly very pretty.